and welcome to the Markeisha Hall podcast. I'm your host, Markeisha Hall, IEP coach, parent empowerment partner, and certified autism travel professional. And today I have with me a very special guest. We found each other on Instagram because we're both special education teachers, special needs moms, travelers. What else? We have a lot of things in common.
I think that, we've got a lot in common.
So
Instagram twinners.
Yes. I was like, oh, this looks like my bio too. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Lindsay.
I am Lindsay Matson. I have a master's degree in special education and currently teach middle school special education in Utah. I also own a tutoring company where we tutor students with special needs. It's called Strive Education Services. And we do tutoring virtually or in person in Utah. And then I have two special needs children, so two kids with IEPs. One has autism and one is classified currently as developmental delay.
Okay. Well, you have two IEPs going into this.
And I love, and I love to travel. Love it.
And I do too. So what we do also is we love to travel, and but it's not always easy when you have a child that has a disability to just hop on a plane or even go to a new place, even if it was something small. So I haven't gone as far as the places that you've gone. So tell us some of the places that you guys have gone to. Or maybe I should say, what are your top three places that you love that you guys have gone to?
Oh, Hawaii. We live there, so that's kind of a cheat, but we travel, we island hopped between all the islands. Alaska was our vacation this summer. Absolutely fabulous. And then we love Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
We don't do the Strip, we keep it family friendly, but we love Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas. When you said family friendly, I have a little funny about that. The billboards that go around. My son was 4, my oldest son. He was like 4, and he was like, hot babes. And we were like, oh no.
Oh no. Yeah. We stay off the Strip. We go to pools. We go hiking.
Right.
Much more family friendly.
Yes. You got to be careful when you're taking the kids on the Strip, because you never know what you will go into. So, so how I get the question a lot because our youngest is autistic, and we do travel with him since he was came into our home at 2.5. But a lot of families reach out and are like, how it's difficult just to get them to maybe transition to go into the grocery store or different environments. And you have 3 kids in total. So just traveling with kids, let's just put that out there, is different. It's a whole different beast.
Yes.
With kids in general, and traveling is a whole different thing. So adding the mix that are kiddos that have a disability keeps a lot of families, the surveys that they have, like with autism travel, et cetera, not traveling. So how did you say, well, we're going to tackle this because this is what we love to do? Or maybe you previously was traveling before you had kids and like, I'm going to keep up with this tradition. What gets you traveling?
So do you think it's kind of into traveling? One, that was going to be a part of our family. The second thing is my ex-husband, my kid's dad, is military. So we didn't have tons of choice. We kind of had to do it. You have to move. I guess we didn't have to. He traveled a lot for work, and we just opted to travel along with him.
Okay.
And so it pushed us out of our comfort zone very early on. And I think the first trip is the hardest, in my opinion.
Yes.
getting it organized, getting a child used to a long car ride or a plane ride or a train ride or whatever you end up doing. That's always the hardest with anything with, especially autism kids. My oldest is autistic, and my developmental delay girl, they thrive on routines, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's good for them to not always have that routine, because sadly in this world you don't always get that routine. It's good for them to learn to go with the flow, but I always make sure they know what to
Right.
expect. So they know the process of an airport. I don't just take them to the airport and throw it
Right.
in. They know what to expect at the airport, what to expect on the flight, what to expect when we get there. They know the steps of the trip. And they've done really well with that when I just kind of lay it out
Right.
day by day. Naturally, I'm a more spontaneous traveler. I would just get up and go. But with kids, especially special needs kids, I found that out what you're going to be doing. So the night before you can review it with them, that it's not the same routine as when you're at home. It
Right.
still is a little bit different, but that has helped prevent a lot of meltdowns for me.
Yes. Yes. I like that you said that your children, and I just think, like I just said, kids in general, but especially our kiddos that have autism thrive on routine. But it is important. I agree with this. I know some people won't, is to disrupt that sometimes, because that's how, when we're thinking about them living independently as they possibly can once they get older, that's how it's going to happen, right? It's not going to happen the way that your routine may go. And I feel just like you. It's like we have to, when I get to see it, then I can prepare him for as many different instances that he'll come in. So then we can problem solve on, like, if this comes up, then you can do this kind of things, because they do happen. And I do agree that the first one is the hardest. I just remember vacation, and he actually was not diagnosed at the time and just had come into our home through foster care. So we really had no clue. There's lots of that. I was like, we're on vacation. He's melting down by the pool. I didn't prepare him like I do now, because we just didn't know, because we were just getting to know him in our home. So yeah, it's after that though, but if you've seen the pictures lately, that he's just like, yeah, going on vacation.
Yeah, they end up loving it. My kids with special needs love the travel just as much as my other child does.
Yes. So Alaska.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
That was fabulous. We had so much fun. I am a single mom, so I did that one just me and my 3 kids. So it was an adventure for sure.
Wow.
But like I said, we set up a schedule. The other tip I have, and I'm going to be posting a freebie on my Instagram of travel tips with special needs kids. The other tip I have is I let each kid pick one activity for the trip. So in Alaska, there's so much to do. You can hike, you can fish, you can go to museums, and every kid got to pick one day, which gives them some ownership. Yeah. And then it also teaches them taking turns. Today's not your day. I know maybe you don't want to do your sister's activity, but that's her choice. So I think it teaches a couple of good life skills there, and it keeps them engaged and gives them some ownership over the trip.
I like that idea. I like that a lot. And I think that it's important too that the siblings of kiddos that have special needs are often maybe miss out on some of the things that typically they would be doing if their sibling didn't have a disability, because of maybe the fear of meltdowns, just the fear of traveling. Even if you didn't have a child with a disability, it's just different. You're going to a different place. until you get well traveled, they're like, oh, we've been here before. But every new destination, it's new to everyone. So what would you say to encourage parents to get out there, especially if you have like siblings, you have other kids, because then they're not getting to experience those things, also.
I think start small. A trip to Alaska as a family is probably out of reach for a first vacation for most kids, most families with special needs kids.
Right.
Start small. Start with, I live in Utah, so Vegas is a 5-hour drive. We have friends there. It's very comfortable. You can start even smaller than that. Go to a hotel in your neighborhood and just try a hotel and do a little staycation for a weekend or camp in your backyard. Start small and then build up to it. Because it's going to be overwhelming for everyone. If you're like, oh, we're going to go to Alaska for a week. We've never traveled before. My kids have never been on a plane before.
Right.
That's a huge step. So start small.
Yeah, start small. I can agree with that. We did not start small. Okay. We already have the plan.
Okay.
And we're getting on this plan, and it's a whole nother podcast. We did not start small when we first started with Josiah, because we just didn't know. And yeah, that was quite the experience for all of us when we still talk about it. We laugh about it today, but there was lots of tears, and not just from Josiah, from that first trip. We could have really prepared. Had we known, we would have prepared. So when you get to a destination, so you prepare, how do you prepare them? Because you say that you plan and you prepare the kids for a trip. Are you using pictures, videos, or what does that kind of look like when you're preparing them to be out of their routine?
For me, it's a lot of pictures and conversations. Pictures of the Airbnbs, the hotels, the the museums, the hikes, so that they can visualize where we are going and what we are going to be doing. And then they can move forward and know, oh, this is what my room is going to look like on vacation. This is what, and my kids have been flying since they were like 3 months old. And so them to airports, there are great YouTube videos out there that explain what security is, how to go through security. Mom takes your shoes off, you keep them on. And I think that is essential for kids to understand airports, because airports are kind of a beast in and of themselves.
Right.
I'm an adult and I don't love airports.
Right.
And so help prepare your kids for an airport, for an airplane, show them some YouTube videos, because pictures just don't quite grasp what an airport really is.
Yeah.
And then give yourself extra time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. When I travel alone, I'm one of those, get to the airport an hour before, just rush through, I'm good. When you're traveling with kids, make sure you've got, hour and a half, 2 hours. So there's plenty of time to get through everything.
Great. We travel out of LAX, which is notoriously one of the, to your base, that's where we're like,
Yeah.
So there was that experience, and just airports in general. Definitely give yourself enough time. There's always someone, even though you went to the bathroom, that's always our little hang up. You're like, right, going through, you're like, go to the, didn't we just pass by 500?
And you have to stop and buy water for everyone, because you can't go through security. There's so many little things.
Right.
That the first time I flew alone with kids, not well prepared, and it was very rushed and very hectic. And I was like, nope, no more. Hour and a half, 2 hours at least with
Right.
kids.
Maybe we should just do a whole podcast on the airport. I think all those little things, now that you're saying them, and probably you're probably putting in your tips for a thing, but maybe just the airport.
Yeah.
Like you said, going through with the liquids, that's not. So you have to get rid of all the stuff, go to security, pick up everyone else's drink, especially now because they aren't serving the way that they used to.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally different on flights now.
Yeah, pandemic traveling is a little bit different, but you always want to have your snacks and juice and water and all those things for the plane ride, which is in itself. And I don't know if they have this in Utah, but some airports have a program that can help families experience like the airport without going to the airport. I'm gonna have to remember what that's called. Wings. I think it's Wings for Autism. I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, that's awesome. I have not heard of that.
Yeah, I think it is something like that because we've did it before when I was teaching. I'm gonna check it out. We'll look into it together. And there's also TSA Cares that can help with the screening process, and you can identify that your child, or if you're a disabled adult, can get some help going through security and letting your airline know that you might need some more assistance. TSA Cares.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Those are great programs.
So I am probably off task because we could talk about traveling so much, since we walked through it. So I'm like, oh yeah, we might be skipping over some steps for families that are just even thinking about broaching the topic. And one thing that I know that I hear from a lot of families, and not even if they were traveling, just going out to dinner or maybe to the park, is that they're very conscious of if their child does have a meltdown out in public. Like, I don't want to be in, Cancun on the beach and my child has a meltdown. How do you have the confidence, right, to like, we're going to go here. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So that's a big fear for a lot of families. Big fear for a lot of families is, my child is going to have a meltdown and we're at this, it doesn't even have to be a big place. It could be we don't go out to dinner. We don't do these types of things because my child's going to have a meltdown and everyone's going to be looking at us. And I'm sure that you've experienced that sometime in your lifetime with your kiddos. And let's talk about that. That's a real, fear for a lot of families.
Yeah. So I think you just have to be confident in who you are as a parent, as a special needs parent. And that is awkward and it's hard and people will stare. But it's kind of a start small. Take them to McDonald's and build up to it. My kids, when we were in Alaska, we went to a very nice restaurant because I wanted good seafood. And my daughter did have a meltdown and we just, took care of it and we moved on. But I think it's a confidence issue. And I think I could be on and talk about this for another half an hour.
Yeah.
Just having that confidence in yourself and in your child and in your family that it's okay that you guys are a little bit different.
Right.
And I think a lot of times other families will see it and they'll think, oh, maybe there is something there. And it teaches other adults understanding and patience that there are other humans in this world who are a little bit different and we have to work with them.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I always feel I don't know. I don't want to say sad because it's not like pity, but I just want parents to be like, I don't care. I go out, even prior to me having my son. I feel like, by one of my kiddos, he had a pacifier way past the time that people felt he should have a pacifier, but I was fine with that. People were like, isn't he too old to have a pacifier? I kindly was like, this is what we do as our family. It's a podcast, so I won't say all the things that I said, but
you've got to.
I would love for families to. Yeah, that's why I love having you on. I love that we connected because you're out there with your 3 kids. In Alaska, a single mom. 2 of the kiddos have disabilities, and you're like, we're going to go to this restaurant because I want good seafood. We're in Alaska. We'll have to talk about how good that seafood was. I know it had to be delicious in Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
So
good.
More families that, see, like, yeah, we go out, we have meltdowns at the beach, or we still have our sleep issues at the resort. And this is how we, navigate it through that. I think it can, encourage parents. That's what we want to do. Encourage them that we've been there and that they can, get out there too, because I believe that's how we start inclusion. We have to see families. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys do this, sometimes when we're out and you see a child that maybe is stimming or having a meltdown, you can give a like, hey, I'm there for you kind of thing. Like, you're like, oh, I've been there before.
Yeah.
Like, you can offer, a different perspective, or you're like, oh, good, they're out too. Oh, just something kind to say to that family when they're out and about in the community. So
yeah,
I got some good tips here. Just to recap what Lindsay said, with traveling is to start small. I really enjoyed that you said choose an activity, have a child choose an activity for that day. There's lots of concepts that go into that. Pictures and convos about where you guys are going and what it looks like. And using YouTube videos. I don't use YouTube enough, but that is a really good thing to really get immersed in the airport. Pictures, you're right. Pictures for something like that. It's not like a hotel room where it's static. Like, oh, there's your bed. The airport's always changing. So that was an excellent tip to really embrace what something like a airport would look like. Is there anything you would add to that?
No, I think that's a great list. And I'm going to finish it up, round it up to an even 10. And you can check it out you can follow me at strive.education.services. And I'll have that out next week.
Oh, awesome. So we'll tag everything in the notes section of this. And just quickly before we wrap up, let us know about your tutoring services. You are in Utah, however, well, I'll let you tell them about it. Let's talk about that because the school year is coming up.
Yeah, so I am. Yes. And I think there's lots of great tutors out there, but so few have the special education training, which you need if you have a special education kid. Yes. And so it won't always be me working with your kid. I have great tutors who work for me that I train, and we almost create an IEP for tutoring. It's individualized. It can be homework help. It can be filling in the gaps. It can be working on IEP goals. It can be a variety of executive functioning. Anything that your kiddo might need, we incorporate the whole child into our tutoring. And we just, we're there to support you and help you and your child. So you can find me. The best thing about it is it's Utah prices no matter where you are in the country. So if you live in California, I'm not charging you California prices. So
I might be signing up then.
so, it's quite a bit cheaper than,
Right.
some of the big cities.
Well, Lindsay, what I really love about it too, and for the parents that are out there going into this school year, and why I'm glad that we're on this podcast before school starts for everybody, is because of the pandemic and just education in general, and especially special education. There's going to be things that are gonna come up. So being prepared ahead of time. And what I love is that you are special education teachers, so you get the structure of the school day and things like that, but you're also a mom, so it's lived experiences. So you're not going to be saying some things that we've all heard from parents and teachers. And me as a teacher has said to parents prior to having a child with a disability in my home. Mm-hmm. So not just, of course, Dashy, I love teachers. I've done this myself, and it's not practical. Now that I'm thinking about some of the things, I was like, I told this to a parent when I was a teacher. But being at home with my autistic son, this doesn't, just set a,
it's
just
not practical. Yeah.
It's not practical. That's not going to work out for us. So you have lived experience and special education experience. And that's why your tutoring services would work so well for families, because it's going to be some practical advice and practical tools, that you're able to use in everyday life. And that's what we want for our parents, to be able to enjoy their parenting experience by making it just practical. I guess that's what I want to say. So I love that you're doing it. And I really love that it's top prices, because California is really expensive. We can't even get gas out here.
Yeah, I'm a still for California prices. I've done my research. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good old California. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much.
I know.
I hear more kids bustling.
Thank you.
We will have to circle back.
You get back
there's
to
so many things. There's so many things that we can talk about. And I'll make sure you guys go ahead and make sure to follow Lindsay at Strive Education on Instagram, correct? Strive Education?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Strive.education, right? Yep. And I'll make sure to type it up in the notes, though, because probably people are listening to podcasts, running or grocery shopping or whatever. So I'll make sure to have it in the notes. And we'll connect again on several other different topics.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Thank you again so much.
Okay, thank you. You have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Marquise Hall podcast. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and go ahead and leave a 5-star review.